Okay, today's subject is kind of different. I feel like I need to be honest with you and tell you something. I feel like I need to tell you something. But before I do that, I'm at the SM Mall in General Santos, and it's Friday towards 4 or 5 o'clock, and it's coming even more alive. The people are really alive in the Philippines. They're out and about, but on the weekends they're really even more packed, the mall. So I had to get out of the mall and walk on a veranda here. Second floor place with businesses. It's a little less loud. I know you hear music and people and kids talking, and like in the mall there's a movie theater on the second floor, and there's today there's a bunch of cosplay going on as they go into the movies. So there's young people dressed up differently and they're enjoying themselves. But I'm on outside. It's a little hot out here. I certainly like it better in the mall. It's cooler, but what I wanted to tell you and be honest with you, I feel like I need to tell you that I'm not perfect. You know, I want to tell you what I think has been some of my character flaws, and but I want to start by telling you what I believe. I believe that we all see through a glass dimly. There's this idea that we see through a glass dimly. I'm not the one that coined that phrase, but what it means to me now, after all these years of knowing that phrase, is that there's things we can know clearly, and there are many things we cannot know fully, yet we see through a glass dimly. That means we're not as, I'm not, you're not, whether you believe it or not, if that phrase is true, I am not able to see everything clearly, and even the things I see, I might not see as clearly if I was more gifted, let's say. But I've subscribed to the idea that it's very difficult to come to proper conclusions for all of us, because we're not God. We can't read hearts or minds, and we don't know everything. We have to know things. We have to come to conclusions sometimes. We have to judge. But I'm telling you, I see through a glass dimly. Does that mean that there is no truth, there is no facts, there's nothing evident? No, there's a lot of evident, revealed things. But it's like the other principle. The things that are revealed belong to man. The things that are hidden belong to God. All right? So there's a lot of speculation going on about things that are hidden. I don't want to be that kind of person. It doesn't help anybody. It's just a form of entertainment that's fruitless. All right? So, but the second thing is, I believe that we all stumble in what we say. I am imperfect. I'm gonna make mistakes verbally because it's connected to my mouth is connected to my heart, my conscience, and I'm not as enlightened as the Supreme Being. So I'm gonna make mistakes. But even so, I have courage to step up and say something, like telling you what I think my flaws are, knowing that you're likely gonna misjudge me, criticize me, lack understanding, that if you have bad character. But if you have good character, you'll be able to tolerate what I'm telling you, because if we have good character, we know that we stumble in what we say. It says, there's this thought out there, we all stumble in what we say. That means we are not perfectly able to articulate everything about a certain subject or about a person or a thing in life, or especially being gifted to come to proper conclusions or judgments about things. So that's what I believe, and I look at myself as a flawed person. I look at myself as a work in progress. I'm a work in progress, just like you. I look at you as a work in progress. I need to remember that. And you know, some of us are into improvement, some of us aren't. Some of us aren't going to improve. And we're just not interested in that. But others, we're open to improvement. I'm open to improvement. I'm open for correction. But now, you know, what I feel like I need to tell you is, like, if I look at my life as seasons, I'm now in my 60s. It's a certain season of my life. I got into a season, you know when it starts, you don't know when it's going to end. And this season, oh, by the way, there's a beautiful breeze blowing on me. I love it. This season of my life, I have identified certain character flaws that I have that I need to flip and work on. But when I was young, the early days in the home, being raised as a child, I knew from my youth that I was a sad person. Let's say I was sad. Maybe I'm using the wrong word because I make mistakes to characterize me. I don't know, maybe I wasn't as optimistic. Maybe I didn't have any hope. Hope is a good character trait. But I'm not sure how to characterize it other than I knew I needed to improve myself, and I was open to it. So when I became a teenager, maybe when I was out of the house for the first time at college, or right before then, I went to the bookstore and I was shy. I was thinking, who's going to see me do this? I went to go get self-help books, self-improvement. And I think that's one of the best character traits I had when I was a young person, 20 and below. 20 and below, that season, I was open to personal improvement because I identified there's something with me that isn't good. I couldn't tell you that at that time. I just knew I lacked confidence, I lacked strength. Maybe I wasn't brave, maybe I wasn't the man I should have been. But whatever it was, I knew I needed some help. So I started reading self-help books, and there was this Jen Ray, and I'm not promoting this, but it was by Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking. Maybe I was thinking negatively, downcast. Maybe I was just a downcast, like they say, a sheep without a shepherd. So I got this guy's book, The Power of Positive Thinking, and it started to change my thinking patterns, that it's okay to think positively, not so negatively and downcast. I was really downcast. And I read a lot of his books, and it helped. It helped. And it wasn't about religion. There were some religious stories in there, but it was not necessarily about a belief system, but about stories of people that had positive thinking, which led to positive outcomes, let's say. So that helped me. That was a help. And when I was going to college, when I was 17, I thought, I'm going to go to college. It's going to make me a better person. Well, it didn't. It didn't, because there's no oversight, no accountability there. You get into sexual morality, drinking, drugs, and it's crazy in America that way. It's very immoral in a lot of ways, very ungodly. So it didn't improve me. It made me worse. And it's partly my fault, right? But the environment it brought it on as well. You know, who we hang out with, that's who we become. The wise walk with the wise. If you want to be wise, walk with the wise. You want to be with drug-free, walk with drug-free people. You know, you want to be with happy people, you know, walk with happy people, whatever that means. So, you know, I remember when I was young, one of my bad habits is I smoked occasionally. I was a little boy. And when I was 12, I was walking up the opposite street of my house, across other houses on the opposite street. And I was walking up, and there were two guys from the bus stop that I knew, but we were never friends. And I was 12, and I said hi to them, and that's who I hung out with from then on. I left my brother and his friends and our friends at that time and switched friends without even trying, and those friends didn't smoke, so I quit smoking. I quit when I was 12. Now, I know you're all upset, you that are afraid of smoking. Hey, I overcame it. It's a bad habit. I don't think it's that big a deal as some people think, but compared to other things. But what I'm trying to say is, when I changed my friends without even thinking, it changed my habits for the better. And I'm glad when I look back at that. But my first season of life, when I was through up to about my 20s, or 24, 22, whatever, it had certain things in it. You know, I didn't ever believe in God, didn't care about religion, didn't care about God, didn't care about going to church. It would make me nervous. I would never go to church, never go to a wedding in a church building and make me nervous. Wasn't interested in religion. I was never interested in religion. Then that's kind of indicates, you know, I was a drinker, I was a leader in drinking, and that's a bad habit. You know, being intoxicated regularly is not a good habit. There's definitely physical results from that are bad, like fighting, out of control, you know, being too lightheaded to do daily operations. You know, it just has a bad effect. You know, but there's a time for morphine. Like if somebody's dying, you know, they need some morphine to take away the pain, to help ease their pain. I understand that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about bad habits. I'm not talking about dying. So, you know, I'm going to create another video, another talk, because this is getting too long. But the first season of my life, you know, I identified I was downcast. It was really, and that's not a good character trait. For a moment it is, for a moment in time, but I needed to flip that. I was trying to get out of that through thinking, other things. I was searching. And I didn't find every answer I needed at that time, but I had some. and so that's sort of my youth. And then, you know, the sexual morals weren't there because they weren't taught with me, and so there was a promiscuity, bad stuff like that. So that marked some of the bad character I have. But you know, the next video I'll talk about the next season of my life. There's like 3 seasons of my life. I'm in my 3rd season as far as I can judge it, as far as I can discern. So I just want to be honest with you. That's how I assess myself. That's how I judge myself. And I want to have maybe one or 2 other videos to talk about what I think my flaws were, and maybe some good character traits that I had, either to overcome it or to compensate for it.